All right, the Colorado Avalanche drop a tough one to the St. Louis Blues. You never want to lose any of them. You especially don't want to lose the St. Louis Blues. You especially don't want to lose in the fashion that the Avalanche did. Threw a ton of shots on net and an ending that was just ripe to tie the game and head to overtime, but the Avs couldn't pull through. So they lose this one 3-2. A lot to talk about. Another episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Locked On Avalanche. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. You can follow us on our social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Questions, comments, concerns, and opinions, lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And follow us on our YouTube channel. Over on YouTube, hit subscribe, get notified when a new show goes live. And before we even get to any hockey, it's a special day for Mr. Kyle Sullivan. If you follow the show, if more specifically, if you follow our very own Shaggy Von Doom, you know he is a massive Macho Man Randy Savage fan. So why is today so special, sir?
Today would have been his 70th birthday. So happy birthday
say,
to the cream of the crop.
If you were to, have me guess how old he would have been, it would have been more than 70. That's a little bit surprising. Yeah. I don't know why. Maybe he just looked older.
Well, if you see what his brother looks like now,
yeah,
you'd be like, yeah, that tracks.
All right. So are you doing anything special for today? You just dressing up like him, like Halloween version 2.0 or anything?
You say special, dressing up like him. It's an every other day thing for me.
All right. So a little bit late with this episode too, by the way. Apologies for that. I have a sick little boy who is up every 5 minutes in the middle of the night right now, which is not conducive to late night podcast recording. So we have to push this more. Okay. And we're back. I don't know where I cut out, but I said maybe it's good that we waited till this morning to record this one because emotions were running a little bit high after last night's game. So time to really sleep on it and digest it a little bit. And for me, kind of just like a summary of the game for me is I didn't feel like the Avalanche played particularly bad. You know, you come up on the wrong side, and there's going to be good losses or losses you're okay with, and I'm not okay with losing to the Blues. You always hate that when you lose to a division rival. You threw 47 shots on net. You had an opportunity no team gets at the end of a regulation, having a 5-on-3, which turned into a 6-on-3 when you pulled the goalie, and the Avs just couldn't get through. We'll get to that specifically in a minute, but I kind of want to get your take on the overall gist of the game.
This is how fun hockey is. This is that thin line that you ride, where if you lose a game like this, it's frustrating, it's aggravating, because you could point out all the little mistakes that they made, even though on a whole they played pretty good. But you could point out the mistakes and say, if we would have just done this here, we would have won this game. But if we would have ended up winning, tying it up, winning in overtime, you go back and look at those mistakes and you just say, we could have beat the Blues 6-2, 6-3, and you use it to further boost the fact that you played really, really good, and you exemplify the good traits of the game. But there was a lot of little mistakes, and of course how they finished out, you're just it's frustrating, and you're just ready for the next game to cleanse your palate. But overall, a frustrating game.
There's opportunities in every game, and sometimes you take advantage of those opportunities, and sometimes you miss those opportunities. And in this game, it was just missed opportunities from the Avalanche. You play this game again and in the same fashion, I would say 8 out of 10 times the Avalanche are going to win a game like that. You just ran into, and I know, you're gonna hear cars screeching when I say this. Jordan Binnington played a very good game. You have to give the guy
Hush.
You know what I mean? I'm not gonna say any other goalie. Sometimes goalies just are dialed in, And I'm sorry, when you stop 45 of 47 shots, you have to give him some credit for that. Sure, the Avalanche had some wide open chances and whiffed on them. And you, like I said, you run that game back, and likely the Avalanche, you would have to feel good about their chances when they play a game like that. So, I mean, the big thing is at the end of the game, Avs obviously down 3-2, which was the final. It was Josh Manson who drew a penalty, a tripping penalty. And then a couple seconds later, the Blues get called for a delay of game. So now you have a 5-on-3, and it happened at like just around like 2-minute mark. So you're going to finish this game on a power play. And you could have had, the 5-on-3 and then the power. If you scored on the first one, you could have had another power play right. So everything was like setting up beautifully for the Avs to at least tie the game, potentially winning it. So you have a 5-on-3 with almost a full 2 minutes. And I'm going through my head. I'm like, wow, I don't see this hardly ever. And I'm thinking in my head, like, what do you do? Do you just keep it 5-on-3 because those are great odds to begin with? Or do you pull that goalie and make it 6-on-3? And the way the Avalanche did it is exactly how I would have done it. They went 5-on-3 for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They went 5-on-3. And then I think it got to right around a minute. The Blues were able to clear. And then on the next rush into the zone, that's when they pulled Georgiev and went 6-on-3. And shockingly, there was a lot of overpassing on a 6-on-3. I think it was Cale Makar who had a wide open net, and he passed it back to the right-hand side. I don't know why maybe he just didn't have complete control of the puck. The puck seemed to be bouncing a lot last night. So I don't know why he passed that up, but just in general, there was a lot of passing movement going on, and maybe we're gonna have 6-on-3, just get giddy that we can just keep cycling this around and eventually just finding that wide open net. It never happened. And I think there's a lot of backlash right now for why would you put in 6 guys? Because it just gets convoluted. There's just too much traffic.
And I don't know. I
get it, but what do you think?
I've seen a 6-on-3 go wrong with for my day job, the team that I cover. I've seen a 6-on-3 where they tried to pull the goalie, mistimed putting on that 6th skater and get a too many men on the ice penalty, and then negate that entirely.
Okay.
I mean, it's the emotion, like you're trying to time everything out, and we're a team that gets too many men on the ice a lot. So I also understand that. I understand the crowding, but this was mentioned in the YouTube comments yesterday. Binnington's that goalie that you have to start getting in his head early, because if he gets in there and gets comfortable, forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been the key to success against the Blues all year this year. And you had an empty first frame against the Blues, and you are piling up shots like crazy. And by the way, this is what I pulled. Every time we scored a goal, I had a water bottle, and every time we scored, I would throw the water bottle. It's a fantastic thing, and I wish everybody would adopt this now. But it's
tradition.
It's a tradition now.
Yeah.
But the more it went on, the more you saw Binnington really settling in. And I feel like him settling in and that 6-on-3, 5-on-3, the Avs got too cerebral. And that's a problem the Avs get a lot, where they overthink things.
Mm-hmm.
Like in that second period when the scoring really opened up, you saw the Avs attacking the zone deep in the trapezoid, like from behind the net where Wayne Gretzky used to set up. And then you would see lines that would come on and set it up at the blue line and pass it around almost like a power play. But then once, time started running out in that third period, it just became that cerebral, like, we have to find the perfect shot. We have to find, and there's only 2 minutes of a power play.
And when you're doing that, it's because the goalie is playing so well.
Yes.
You kind of feel like we can't just, throw a shot on net, and which is odd because, like I said, they had 47 shots on goal, but they were like at the end, they were looking for that perfect pass, especially on a 6-on-3. And a lot of the shots throughout the entirety of the game were coming from just inside the blue line. You weren't going to score that way. Like he was too dialed in by doing it. And I get it. You still do it because you get the tip, you get a nice juicy rebound. Anything can happen when you do it. But those shots were not going to go in last night. You had to get kind of like those greasy goals. And they just were not happening for the Avs. And with the 6-on-3, and people are saying like it's too much traffic. It's too much traffic for the Blues. It's not too much traffic for the Avalanche. They know shots are coming, and they're going to maneuver themselves to get out of the way of the shots. There's 3 Blues on the ice.
Yeah,
it's like they're not going to get in the way of the shots. If anybody's going to get in the way of the shots, it's the Avalanche, which they weren't doing because they weren't taking them at 6-on-3. It was mind blowing how it worked for me. I don't know.
It's 6 players pushing the puck this way, and including Binnington, 4 pushing it the other way.
Yeah,
just that right there, it should work in our favor. If it's a greasy bounce, just a goal that happened to go, the last one off Georgiev, that would go just kind of in between the skate.
Yeah,
You increase your chances of something crazy happening when you have 6 pushing towards the net and 4 pushing the other way. It just kind of over time it should balance out, but it didn't for the Avalanche.
You're not going to convince me that 5 guys on the ice is better than 6 guys on the ice. I'm sorry. I'll take the more players as you have more opportunity to score or have the skill from those 6 players is better than 5 day in, day out. And it just didn't happen. And the reverse was going to happen. I almost guarantee it. If the Avs didn't pull that goal and they just stayed 5-on-3 for the duration of it and didn't score, everybody this morning is going to be shouting from the rooftops, why didn't you go 6-on-3? You have more players. So you can't win if you try. The only way that this would have came out positive for the Avalanche clearly is to score, and they didn't. Now everybody's expert GM and Monday morning quarterbacking it, but it is what it is. It just didn't happen. It didn't materialize. And even Cale Makar said in the postgame, and I think Erod said it too. He's like, we thought we did everything that we were supposed to do. We just couldn't get it in the net. Sometimes that happens. And I know everybody wants to like catastrophize things and say like, the injuries are piling. That's on a four game winning streak. They threw 47 shots on net in this game. I mean, if things were bad, if they looked terrible, we would say it. But I thought they looked well. You got to throw some credit to the Blues way. I'm sorry. Yep. You just have to do it in this game.
The same people criticizing 6-on-3 are the same people that are acting like we're never going to lose another game when Darren Helm comes back.
Yeah, he's a savior. He's a savior. So a lot more to get to with this one. We're going to do that. We have our sound check to get to. And then specifically Alex Newhook. We kind of talk about him a lot for pretty much this whole season. Comments were made by Jared Bednar that kind of got you thinking. So, but first we are going to hear from our friends over at betonline.net, which is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. You can get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from football to basketball, soccer, esports, and of course our NHL. We've got it all at betonline.net. And if you love podcasts, you can find those as well at BetOnline. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. It's betonline.net, where the game starts. All right. So yeah, the goals, here's the other part of it. The goals by the Blues, one of them to me was legit. Yeah. The very last one, I think by Jordan Kyrou, was the last one that was just a flat out goal. The first one by Robert Thomas and then by Brandon Saad. Yeah. So the first one by Thomas was a breakaway. He got behind McKinnon. The puck didn't go in.
No.
It went bar down, but not bar down into the net, bar down into the crease. And Georgiev didn't really know where it was. He kind of he did what Cale Makar did the other night. And he kind of pushed the puck into the net. And then the second one is just this turnaround shot that was not even a no look kind of shot, just to get a puck on net. Georgiev had good positioning. Mm-hmm. He was right up against the post, and the puck it seemed like it just hopped up on that white part of the skate, the little bracket there, and just slid right in. Those were blade holder. Two nonsense goals, in my opinion, but they're goals and you can't take them away. And that's the other part of it is the 2 out of the 3 goals the Blues got. You're just sitting there watching this and like, okay, like the first one, sure, things happen. Clearly, Cale Makar benefited from the tuchus of a goalie, and now it happened to us. Okay, and then the second one was just like it just snuck in there.
Yeah, that first one, I think no matter what Georgiev would have done, if he knew it was a live puck or not, I think any adjustment he would have made it would have pushed that puck in regardless. Because of the way it was coming in, any kind of movement would have probably pushed it back the other way if he tried to do anything. That second one was ugly, and that's the perfect bow on this story. Was the Blues beat us with the ugliest goals on earth, and we beat ourselves by trying to make the most beautiful goal on earth.
Well, and then there was another one by Rodriguez, by Evan
Yeah,
Rodriguez on it was like a wraparound, and Binnington was a little bit out of position, and I don't know who it was, a defender just, going to stop it, and his toe from his skate stopped the puck from going in.
yep.
It's a game of inches, and for the Avalanche, it was not there. Like everything luck-wise was going towards the Blues. So you had that. You had Dryden Hunt, who is absolutely a whipping boy today, having two really good chances.
Yeah,
He could have easily had a 2-goal night. The first one, if he was a righty, that would have went in.
yeah.
Because his body positioning would have been a little bit different, and he just slid it right through the crease. And then the second one, which was towards the end of the game, he just didn't get a good stick on it on a backhand, and it went right in. I mean, he had the whole left side of the goal open, and Binnington was on the right side, and he just backhanded it right into Binnington.
Yeah.
So his location on his backhand was not there. So again, this is where things go your way and things don't go your way. Last night just was not.
And you brought up Dryden Hunt. Dryden Hunt and England talk about wanting to make something happen. You could really tell they were playing with some fire. Like
Yeah.
and I think, and you mentioned Newhook earlier. Like that's what we keep talking about. And we haven't mentioned JT Comfort yet.
Mm-hmm.
Still, and those are established members of this roster that have been through training camp, through practices, know what we expect out of the Avalanche. But then you have England and Dryden Hunt playing out of their minds, and they're very noticeable and visible, and it really throws things out of balance when you're asking these two guys to step up and do something, and you have these fresh faces come on, and they're absolutely showing you up.
I thought, I'm trying to see who I didn't think had the best of games. Outside of Alex Newhook, I thought England looked pretty good.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, and I don't watch him all that much. He's a big boy.
Yeah.
He's tall. He's a little bit lanky, but he's a big defender. That could be somebody that they need, going down as the season goes on. But I thought he looked pretty good. He had over 10 minutes of ice time. I thought your depth players in the forwards lines looked pretty good. Like they were involved.
Yeah.
Ranta made a couple mistakes, which you don't want to see from a couple bad turnovers from him. Some really bad turnovers, like I said, by Newhook. But I don't know, man. I thought, O'Connor's always working his butt off. Hunt's always is working pretty hard. I thought Hunt was pretty good behind the goal.
Yeah.
He does a lot of good work behind there. I just, when you have those two opportunities that you can't pull through on either one of them, if he was able to get one of those through, we wouldn't be sitting here saying oh, what's going on with Dryden Hunt?
Yeah.
But here's the other thing that, again, how I'm saying it's just game of inches, and sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. Second period, time's winding down. Blues ice the puck with 4 seconds left.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, anything can happen in 4 seconds. Maybe you get a nice draw and at least a shot on goal or something. So there's 4 seconds left, and what happens after the faceoff? With 2 seconds left, Mikko takes a penalty. Bogus penalty, if you ask me, but whatever. It was an interference penalty. So now you went from maybe anything can happen in 4 seconds to now the Blues are starting the third on a power play, and in
the game winner
seconds, 13 seconds, that's the Kyrou goal.
Yep.
Just amazing how things just shift. So you have to take all of this stuff into account here. It's not just like the Avs played terrible. Just all of these things lining up, all of them went the Blues' way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I'm not getting down on the Avs today for this performance. You can get down on individual players and individual plays and stuff like that, but that's hockey. It's a fast-moving game. Sometimes guys are going to come through. Sometimes guys aren't. And yeah, there were guys who did not last night. But overall, the Avs were on it. I thought their passing was great. They were having really good offensive zone possessions. 47 shots on net. The faceoffs, you had 48% of the faceoffs. The power plays are, something to be desired, obviously, but that's been good for the majority of the season. It's just a loss. It's a loss,
Yep.
and I know because it's against St. Louis, we want to blow it up, and I get that, but
And I had my very beautiful friend messaging me during the game talking about how frustrating this game was, and you got to look at it. This is game 14, 15. This is something you have a lot of fresh faces on this team. This is something you learn from, and there's not a lot to learn. Like, lose in this lesson. Yes, it's a quote unquote 4-point game. I get it, but it's early in the season, and you have Eagles on this team, and you have the top lines trying to figure out how to work with each other. This little bit
That's
of
fair.
adversity is what you figure out, work together through, and then take it out Thursday night against Carolina, a higher quality team right now. You put it together there, but this is a lesson game. You could do everything right, and puck luck comes into play. So you have to play a little bit better to get rid of that margin of error.
Yeah. To play this way, down, all the guys were down.
Yep.
I'll take it. I really, and like I said, you're coming off of 4-game wins, and you've been down those guys for that 4-game win streak, and you could have pushed it to 5 easily. So you're not getting blown off the ice. Things are, I think, fine for the Avalanche. You feel confident. I do. I feel like this team is turned the corner, and they're starting to play well.
Yep.
Again, though, Cale Makar, 29 minutes of ice time.
Yeah.
Taves, 26 and a half. It's just something we're going to have to watch as the season goes on. When you have games like this and you're down and you're trying to, get that equalizer, those guys are going to be out there more. I get it, but I don't know, man. Like, that's don't want to burn these guys out this early in the season. So we'll see. All right, we're going to hear from Simply Safe. Then we have a sound check to get to, and what's going on with Mr. Alex Newhook. But first, Simply Safe. And did you know that over the holidays, property crimes like burglaries and package thefts spike nationally? It really should come as no surprise, because we are a nation of Amazon shoppers. Guilty. And when those packages are, yes, you too. I've seen your front door. You don't know this, but I've seen your front door. And when those packages arrive, people are on the hunt to theft these packages right from your front door. So why not get hooked up with Simply Safe Home Security? They are offering right now their best deal of the year, 50% off of their award-winning security systems, so that more families can feel safe and secure this holiday season. Order your Simply Safe system for half off and enjoy advanced security and greater peace of mind during the holidays. It's an emergency 24/7 professional monitoring agents, which use Fast Protect technology exclusively from Simply Safe to capture critical evidence and verify that the threat is real, so you can get priority police response. Do not miss your chance to save big on the only security system that we recommend. You can get 50% off any new Simply Safe system at simplysafe.com/lockedonnhl. There's no safe like Simply Safe. All right, our sound check for the day. You can follow our songs that we pick to best describe the Avs versus the Blues. You can follow it over on Spotify. Just search LOA Soundcheck Volume 2. And kind of haven't done a losing one in a little while. 4 games, obviously. No. But what do you got for this one, sir?
It works on so many levels.
Yeah.
Summarize the game. But anyway, from Blues Traveler.
It's so funny how, like, we don't really discuss what we're going to do for the sound check until, like, we're kind of on the air. And it's kind of like ours were not like, we didn't.
No, we don't
get together beforehand.
No.
And say, oh, let's go this route with the sound check. You pick whatever you want to pick, and I pick. We kind of went the same route. Yours was, but anyway, it's like, okay, you kind of like move on. And mine is Jonathan Davis, lead singer of Korn, has his own solo album, and he has a song called "What It Is." And literally, the chorus is like, "It is what it is."
There you
so
go.
We're kind of on the same page here. We feel like, yeah, like it's okay. You just have to kind of take it and and move on. There's nothing you can really do. You can't dwell on this. You can't dwell on it to just be like, oh, like moves need to be made, and we have to, yeah, we have injuries. That's okay. Our move's going to be made, possibility, but but anyway, it is what it is. Technically,
The Blues traveled into Ball Arena, and we say, but anyway.
yeah. I gotta say, with Blues Traveler, man, like they're one of those bands that I always liked them. Like
Yeah.
back in the '90s. I don't know, like as time has gone on, and maybe I've gotten older, I just like them so much more.
Yeah,
I just appreciate
especially their
them so much
live
more.
stuff.
They're really good live,
Oh, yeah.
and they're still kicking around, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think they just put out an album last year,
Did they
if I'm not
really? Yeah.
mistaken.
Just they've aged very well. Their music
They
has
have.
aged very well, as a lot of stuff from the '90s clearly has. So, go check out. There's two guys, yeah, from yeah, we're from the '80s technically, but
Yeah, yeah, true.
yeah, go to Spotify and follow that playlist and enjoy. All right. So Alex Newhook, what was his time on ice last night? 13 minutes 13 seconds, and
13-13.
yeah, the worst possible number for a guy struggling. He gets it twice. So I think we're going to be just kind of really taking those words that Jared Bednar said at the beginning of the season, and they're always going to creep up right
Yeah.
now, and how he's the 2C and he's really going to give him a good shot at it. And man, how that has just fallen off a cliff. And it's how we were saying, like this whole episode, you just never know what you're going to get game to game. Sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. That embodies Alex Newhook right now. Sometimes he looks really good, and he's skating hard, and he's skating fast, and he's coming up with opportunities for himself and his teammates. And then there's times where it's like he's lost. And last night it was visible.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Is when it's bad, it's really bad. It's almost there's no in between for him. And after his first couple shifts, if he's going to have a good game or he's going to have a poor game. And last night, in one shift in particular, really summed it up for him. Just multiple turnovers in the same possession, in the same zone, that gave the Blues multiple opportunities. And Bednar's not happy. And it's weird because he did, he limited his minutes, obviously. But at the end of the game, he threw him back out there.
Mhm.
And I like that. So it's like, you're not playing that well, but here's your opportunity in a key moment of the game. I'm going to put you back out there. Granted, it was on a power play, but so he's not 100% giving up on him. I don't think he's ever going to do that. But he said after the game, he's not playing up to the comment was something like he's not playing up to the standard that I put on him.
Yep.
Which is a heavy comment from a coach, but it's the reality of what it is right now.
He's not playing up to the standard of a center for a fourth line. We're at 14 games. He has 3 points.
It's gotta be
and the whole offseason, we're talking about JT Comfer, Alex Newhook, who's going to replace that production for Nas. He's not replacing the production for Tyson Jost. Let's you can look good all day long, but that's not what we're asking you to do. There was a hole on the roster. We ask you to fill it, and you are taking so many steps backwards. We're astounded at your back skating ability. It's bad. He's a -4. We ask you to produce, not just go out there and be seen. Don't check a box. Don't just be out there, because you're sitting on a -4. So there's a part of a problem there. So you have to step it up. And Bednar stuck his neck out there and said, hey, he's got this till at least the trade deadline. And you've seen no noticeable step up to that moment and to kind of just take that title. He's just been out there coasting.
You mentioned the trade deadline, and I don't think the Avalanche are going to move him. I think it's way too early in his career where, you've just given up, you throw in the towel on this guy. But from a fan base perspective, if this continues for now up until the trade deadline, 4 months away, there's going to be people just that are doing that. There's going to be people that are just throwing in the towel and saying like, okay, move him now. There's a number of reasons why you don't do that. One is it's he's very early in his career. He's still got to get, I don't want to say acclimated to the game. He's played enough games to get acclimated to the game, but guys just progress differently. So it might take him a little while longer to do that. And as far as, for the people who are maybe eventually shouting from the rooftops, trade him. If he keeps playing this way, you're not going to get a return for him.
Nope.
That's the other part of it. So people are going to be like, well, he's not doing anything for you. Why should we give you a minor king's ransom just because he's a number one draft pick? You don't do that. It's how he's playing right here and now. And he's not playing well. I always say when coaches do this, there's two roads that can happen right now. You can get down on yourself and sulk and wallow in self-pity, or you can step it up and say, coach is right. And I'm better than this. And I need to play better than this on a more consistent basis. Because like we said, we've seen it. We've seen where he like, okay, that's the Alex Newhook. Let's continue this. And it's so funny that you mentioned Tyson Jost, because was that not what we said about Tyson Jost for all the years that he was with the Avalanche?
Yep.
You saw what could be, and you're like, no, he had a hat trick. There's the turning point. And then nothing for like 17 games. It was like, it was just the up and down with Tyson Jost. Is this Tyson Jost version 2.0? Way too early to call that. But what we have to do is live in the here and now. And the most recent return for Alex Newhook in terms of this game is not a good one. Good thing is you have a game in 2 days, which you have an opportunity to, it's not football where you have to wait all week long to redeem yourself. You can redeem yourself pretty quickly in hockey. So that's where we stand with Alex Newhook.
Don't you dare ask me about a trade. I hypothetically tried to trade Frankie, and I got a witch's burial in social media.
Yes,
so I'm not going to talk about trading Newhook, but I'll talk about Newhook right now. I shouldn't have to say, hey, Newhook, it's time to step up. You got it. You hear what? No, that's been the MO since training camp. Like,
yeah,
like this should not be an awakening. Like, maybe I should start. No. The path was laid from training camp, practice, start of the season, preseason. He knows what he has to do. He has to get going. There is no other way around this. He has to get going now.
Yeah, training wheels are off. Like we're far enough into the season where you got to hit a stride, do it day in and day out. And he's got guys around him that'll support him. You have people like Nathan McKinnon who expects that from people. Like he's getting pushed. I can almost guarantee it. So we'll see. I still am standing by my prediction of he will be on the first, second, or third star of the NHL at some point during the year. Still standing by that. Not giving up on the kid. But as far as this one game, wasn't good.
Nope.
All right, everybody. That will wrap it up for today. And unfortunately, probably for the rest of the week, I got to catch a flight to head down to North Carolina to watch our boys play over in North Carolina against the Hurricanes on Thursday. So we'll still be on social media, tweeting it up, probably posting some, reaction videos and stuff like that. So we'll be involved. There's just not going to be a episode of Locked On Avalanche for probably the rest of the week. Maybe over the weekend we'll figure something out. But that's going to wrap it up for today. Comment away in the YouTube comment section. And we will be catching you guys pretty soon. For Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan, I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast, and we'll catch you guys soon.